everybody, it's Matt Larson. Hey, in this video, we're going to be going through the real estate lead sheet. Now, it's really important to fill these sheets out. The reason being is you're going to get a lot of leads over the course of time, and some of these leads, if you don't have this lead sheet in front of you and you're not filling it out, then you may forget some very important questions asked, for one, and secondly, a lot of deals that you do are going to be done when you follow up over time if they don't accept your offer right away. So again, you can refer back to some of these sheets. So what we're going to do, we're going to just take the next few minutes and then go through each question. So just follow along and you'll learn how to do this. So first of all, I always like to ask, how do you hear about us? There's an old saying, I know half of my marketing's working, I just don't know which half. And so you want to know where they're getting your leads from. You're going to be doing several different things to bring in leads. You want to know what's working and then drive deeper into that lead method so that you can get more leads easier with less effort. The second thing is you're going to put down the seller's name. Put down their phone and their email. You want multiple ways to contact all sellers. Then you're going to put down the property address of the house that they have for sale. Simply, you're going to mark down, if it's a single family home, is it a mobile home, a multifamily, or some other type of house. Next thing is you're going to find out, you want to write down how many bedrooms that are in the house. Same with bathrooms. Also, if the house has a garage or basement, you want to notate that. Again, you want to find out if there's a pool. All these things make a difference. Some areas, a pool is a good thing. Like if you're in Florida, having a pool is a really big deal. If you're in the Midwest, having a pool is literally a liability. So depending on where you are, that could be a game changer. The next thing is you want to find out how many square feet is in the house. Now, you don't necessarily have to have that answer from the seller. A lot of times you ask the seller, they don't know, but that's okay. You can do your research, go onto the county courthouse website later on and find that out for yourself if they don't know. The next thing is find out what year it's built. A lot of times they'll know that. If they don't, again, you can look on the county courthouse website. The next thing is ask them what types of repairs are needed. Now, when you ask this question, a lot of times they aren't going to know the exact thing, or you'll see a lot of times where, they bought this house in 1970 and it totally needs updated. But in their mind, there's nothing wrong with it. So you're going to get two types of sellers on the phone. You're going to get the ones that think their house is in perfect condition and it really needs a full rehab. And then you're going to get the other type of seller that thinks that the house should just be torn down when all it really needs is just to be cleaned out. So you're going to see two different types of sellers there. But ask them the question. There's a lot of psychology in this lead sheet. This lead sheet is designed, one, to capture all the information, and two, as a negotiating tool, as you'll see. So you want to physically say the things that are needed. The next thing is you can say, well, what would it cost to put the house in mint condition? Again, if it's something that the seller thinks that the house needs to be, needs to have this, needs to have that, needs the roof, needs windows, and they start saying, well, you ask them, well, what would it cost to fix all those things? What would it cost to put in mint condition? Then all of a sudden they watched all this HGTV TV shows where the people are fixing up houses and the price shoots on the bottom of the screen when they're fixing up a house and it's $50,000. Well, it might only cost you $25,000, or your contractor or contractor that your buyer has might only cost $25,000. So that works to your advantage. Remember, the more that they think that the house needs, the higher likelihood you'll get a better price. Then you want to ask them the most important question on this sheet. Why are you selling? The reason that's important is you want to work with motivated sellers. You're trying to work with people here that, they can't really call a realtor to sell their house. The realtor is going to say, you got to fix this house up and you got to do all these things. These people want to sell fast, and that's what we're looking for. If the seller says, hey, I'm just trying to see what you'll give me, and that you'll see that question sometimes, that seller's not that motivated. The chances of you getting a really good deal are smaller. If the seller says, listen, I just got relocated and I have to move across the country, that's motivated, and you'll see that a lot. See if they have any HOA fees. Sometimes that's important. Sometimes you don't have those in a lot of areas. And then ask them, how much do you owe on the property? And this question needs to be asked with authority. If you ask scared, like, hey, do you think you could tell me, how much do you owe on the property? A lot of times they'll push back and say, well, I don't want to tell you that. But if you say, hey, how much do you owe on the property? Or what's your loan balance on the property? And you just ask and just be quiet after you ask, they'll tell you. Reason we like to ask that is if the house is worth $100,000 and they owe $98,000, there's no equity. If they own the house free and clear, and you'll get that response a lot, then that's ideal, because then you can get it for whatever price you can get it to. Sometimes the payoff is really low. The person might say, well, I only owe $30,000, and maybe it's a $90,000, $100,000 house. Well, I owe about $30,000. I might say, well, on the next question, you might say, so are you just looking to get out of the house what you owe on it? And yes or no. No, I want to make a little bit. Well, how much do you want to make? Well, I want to make I want to make enough to move into a different house, or I want to make a little bit because I want to take a vacation and go across the country. So that's an important question. The next thing is are the payments and taxes current? Now, if they own the house free and clear, they're obviously not going to have a payment. But that doesn't mean they won't have taxes due. Well, some of the most motivated people out there are people that have back taxes. The reason why is if you don't pay your taxes for 3 years in a row, then those taxes get sold to another investor, and that investor can just come in and take over the house. It goes in front of the mortgage and everything. So if somebody's got 2 or 3 years of taxes they haven't paid, they're in danger. So you've asked them all those questions, and now you hit them with, so what is your asking price? So this is important because you want to find out what their asking price is, but you just went through all these questions, and they just told you, hey, this is wrong, and it needs a roof, and it needs windows, and it needs all these repairs, and there's holes in the wall. They just went through and physically told you all that, and then you asked them what it cost to put in mint condition, and they told you it was $30,000. Well, all of a sudden, their price in their mind, their price just went down. So when you ask them what their asking price is, then all of a sudden they might have been started the conversation that they were hoping to get about $80,000. And now all of a sudden they say $50,000. So there's a lot of psychology built into this lead sheet. So they say, I'm looking for $50,000. Now, no matter what they say, your next question is that price flexible? And they're going to say yes or no. And so write all that stuff down. Now, if they do say, yes, that price is flexible, I always follow that up with, well, what do you think you could get to? They might say, well, I don't know, maybe, 40, 45,000. Well, if that's the case, I always say, well, I'm not 100% if 40,000 will work. I'm going to do my research and get back to you. And notice how I said the lower number. That's just another little negotiating technique. You just got to the point where you just got another $5,000 knocked off the price. So that's how you fill out a lead sheet, and that's what information you're going to get from the seller. But notice there's some internal use at the bottom. I like to find out what the assessed value of the house is. It's just a quick little number to see roundabout value. I like to find out when the seller bought the house and how much did the seller pay for the house. That's important as well. If they bought it a long time ago, there's a pretty good chance they have a lot of equity. They might have already made their money from the property if it was a rental. I like to find out what school districts it is in, because in most areas, the school district that a property is located in helps determine value. If you get into a certain area and they say, man, you want to be in that area because it has that school and that's the school everybody wants, then the demand for those properties is going to go up. Then you can just put in there some, the quick comps. You could use a Zillow for just a quick value. Zillow is not accurate. You're just looking for another quick value. And then, if you're going to make an offer, yes, and then how much. So again, that bottom section is just for your own internal use. Those are not questions you're asking the seller. Now you've gathered all the data that you need to move forward. Now you're going to go through and do your research, and if it's worth moving forward, then you can keep moving through the deal. Again, you're going through that whole blueprinting process that I talked about in the first video. So anyway, that's how you fill out a lead sheet. Stick with us, and we're going to see you in the next video.